is very necessary, because one thing I have learned is grief is one thing that's going to touch every single person. So even if you're not dealing with grief at the moment, maybe at some point you will, or you have a family or friend that's going through it, and maybe something you've heard during this show will be something you can pass on to help that person get through their journey. So if you guys are just coming in, welcome to Love Letter to Grief. Our guest today is C Diamonds, and I haven't seen her yet, but whenever she comes in, we'll bring her into the box and we'll get started. And I'm just playing this song that I'm obsessed with. So this song is by Dizzy and Lizzy. It's called "Dancing in the Sky." Hi, sis. Hi, Santi. And I think I spoke to everybody else. Black Diamond, James. Hi, everybody. Okay, so as you guys know, I'm not going to be like speaking to everybody else as they come in. So we're going to go ahead and get started. But whenever C Diamonds gets here, we'll bring her in. But I'm going to bring in Emoji J, who records every one of our streams for our Sunday show. So if you guys aren't able to make it one Sunday, or if you want to go back and look at some of the past shows, or if you were on the show and you want to go back and watch it or share it with your family and friends, my YouTube page is attached to my profile. If you click at the top, you can see you'll be taken to my YouTube link, and Emoji J uploads the shows every Sunday. Thank goodness for that, because he's a lifesaver. And if you guys have any shows that that you do, or any particular streams that you do that you want someone to record for you, fave him, message him on IG, send him a message, and let him know that you're interested in doing the same. So I see C Diamonds is here, so I'm going to go ahead and bring in Emoji J, and we're going to just show the book trailer, and then I'll kind of give you guys a little backstory as to why I started this show, and then we'll get started with today's guest. We don't see it, so just give them just a second, and we'll do. I've been a widow for 4 years. I lost my husband in 2017, and during that initial, I would say probably the first 2 weeks was when things were the realest, and I started writing letters to him and to myself and to my grief, because I found myself in a really dark and scary place, and I was trying to make sure that I was doing everything I could to take care of myself emotionally and psychologically. And so I started writing letters just to kind of journal my grief, just to better understand what I was going through, because sometimes when you're going through grief, it's very hard to talk to people who are close to you, because a lot of times if they haven't walked the exact same journey, it's really tough for them to relate to you. And I felt myself feeling kind of crazy, and like I was like kind of losing it, to be honest. And by writing everything down, it really helps me put things in perspective, come to terms with my emotions and my grief. And it also gave me something to look back on. And I read these letters every once in a while in my book, and I find myself shocked at how far I've come. So even though grief can be super, super tough, every day you feel like you're getting a little bit better. And so that was the whole purpose of me writing the book, Love Letter to Grief, Learning to Walk by Faith. So I think Emoji J is ready for the book trailer, and then we'll get started. Okay.
On May 6, 2017, I lost my husband. That sounds so innocuous, doesn't it? I lost my husband. As if somehow I misplaced him. As if I set him down somewhere and forgot to pick him back up. As if I let him out of my sight and forgot the last place I saw him. The truth is, I didn't lose my husband. He died. People always say to me, I don't know how you do this. They don't know just how close you and I have grown. Faith, you are how I push through. Faith, you are how I am okay. Faith, you are the reason I did not give up. Without you, I would have allowed myself to fall short of God's glory. Without you, I would not have trusted God, and what a scary, lonely place that would be. Faith, you are the substance of things hoped for, and the evidence of things not seen. But you are also the source of power and strength that I never knew I needed so much. My faith in God, His promises, His word, are the answers to how I survived this chapter of my life. Without my faith in God, the story would have ended far worse. The pages of my life would have read quite differently. But with my faith, I will continue to push through, because although the grief journey is tough, I also know I will never walk it alone. This is my love letter to you, about my feelings for you, a letter to not giving up, not giving in, and learning to walk by faith every step of the way. May the lessons I've learned, the stories I've shared, and the letters I've written be an inspiration to that broken heart I experienced the day I lost my husband. May my heartbreak be a source of light to help another broken heart find its way out of the darkness that grief creates.
Thank you, Emoji J. I appreciate it. Okay, so um, when that happens, I'm normally kind of looking through my book to figure out which letter of my own I want to read. So I found the one that we're going to read today, and it's kind of short, but I'll just read you guys one of the entries from my book. Dear Grief, today's inspirational song while walking was "I Smile" by Kirk Franklin. Sometimes I listen to the lyrics I've heard 1,000 times and they just have a new meaning. I almost gave up, but a power that I can't explain fell from heaven like a shower. I smile. Even though I'm hurt, I see, I smile. I know God is working, so I smile. Even though I've been here for a while, I smile. When I think how much better I'm going to be when this is over, I smile. I woke up early this morning and promised myself I wouldn't allow this to overtake me. One step at a time, I got up and went walking, and I reflected immediately after. Over the past few months, I've heard one thing repeatedly: God won't put more on you than you can bear. Well, I'm a testament that even though we're often told this in an effort to comfort us, it just isn't true. The truth is, God gives us more than we can bear so that we can learn to depend on Him in order to bear it. If we could bear everything, then what would we need Him for? In fact, this year, God has repeatedly taken me through storms that were entirely too much for me to handle, way too much for me to bear. And in doing so, He taught me to lean on Him even more. You see, the cards I've been dealt are too much for even the strongest soldier. So I'm constantly reminding myself that I don't have to bear it all, that I don't have to weather the storm alone because I'm not walking alone. God knows I couldn't handle losing my husband the way I did if I was by myself. He knew that I wouldn't have to. On my saddest days, He soaks up my tears. On my weakest days, He carries me. The past 2 weeks, I haven't felt like walking or even putting on my walking shoes, but this morning I did. Just one step at a time, one foot in front of the next. This morning I walked outside, trusting God and thanking Him for His constant protection and His reassuring angels that He's placed in my life. God knows me so well that He thought enough of me to make sure that my relationship with Him became my priority. The waves will come and they will go. But when you think the boat is about to tip over, God will calm the waters. He always does. I never drown. The waves never completely cover me. I'm always in His hands. He never fails me. He never leaves me. And He's never forsaken me. Thank you, Father, for being the source of my strength. God, I trust you. I still hear you. And I will keep walking by faith. So that is just one of the entries from my book. And again, like I said, the reason I do this show is grief is such a isolating emotion that oftentimes it confuses you and makes you feel like you're alone because you're trying to process all of it. And so I found that the more I talk openly about it and the more transparent I am, the more people I'm able to touch and vice versa. So I do this show because it gives a chance for people to come on, write their love letter to grief to someone they've lost. And being that grief is the price we pay for love, I love the fact that when someone comes on the show, they're able to not only talk about their grief, but they're able to express to us who the person was that they lost. Because it's one thing to talk about who you lost, but it's one thing to understand why the person was so important to begin with. So we do have our guest of today's C Diamonds. So whenever you're ready, you can request the box and we will bring you in. And good morning. Thank you guys for all being here. I appreciate you guys for coming to Love Letters to Grief. And we're just wait. Oh, there she is. I hope I can fix the box too.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can fix it. Okay, there we go. Okay. Hi, beautiful. How are you?
Good morning, Travel Bay. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm proud of you for being here. So if you want to give them just a little bit background so they'll know who you are, and then just whenever you're ready, you can tell us who your letter's for, and you can go ahead and start reading.
Okay, thank you. My name is C. Diamonds. The CEO of APG, which is Applied Pressure Game. And my letter is to my brother. I lost my brother when he was 38 years old. I was 25 years old. And we had just lost our parents. Actually, I was 24. And we had lost both our parents within a 9-month period. And we was raised by both our parents. So that's what my letter is.
Wow.
And I'm gonna try my best to keep it together, but being that I'm already going there, I know it's gonna be a little difficult. So I appreciate you guys bearing with me, okay?
Yes, and just take your time, no pressure. We're here to hear your story.
Okay. I tried to back out, but Travel Bay wouldn't let me, y'all. Okay, my letter is to my brother. It says, brother. Hey, brother. That's what I was used to saying. That's what I was used to saying. Then voila, you was gone. You would show up at my house every day after work to make sure I kept a consistent smile on my face. To keep a consistent smile on my face because I'm the youngest of 3. My brother felt as though it was his responsibility to raise me after we lost our parents. Although my mother never played a big part in taking care of me, my dad did, so I was used to being taken care of by men. I remember the day I got the call. My brother barbecued for my son's first birthday. My son was born 7 days before my brother, his first nephew. He barbecued for my son and then went home. I called to see if he was there, but he hadn't made it yet. An hour later, my phone was ringing. I was asleep, but I woke up and I told my cousin who was in the room next to me, I think something happened. He said, answer the phone. I said, I'm scared. He said, why? I said, same thing happened when my mom died. I could feel it. He answered. By the look on his face, I could tell my brother had already died. So I asked him, I said, did my brother die? He said, how did you know that? I said, did he crash? He said, no, because he had a Camaro. He said, we need to go to his house. I said, I'm not going. He said, we are going. At that time, all I could think about was, damn, if your brother dead, who gonna be here with you? You already here fucked up. That's just how I felt, excuse my language. As we approached that house, I could feel my heartbeat faster and faster, faster, because I had never seen a dead body. Yes, I said I've never seen a dead body. I know my parents had died, but I've always been afraid of dead people. I was at one funeral when I was a child. It was my grandfather's. And I could have sworn I seen him breathing, which kept me from going to any more funerals, and I was 10. So as I went up those stairs, everybody was reassuring me it was gonna be all right. I didn't know what to expect. Peeked my head through the door. He looked asleep. I said, wake up, stop playing. He looked asleep. I left. I just couldn't believe it. Went home, started to clean up, turn on my music, like everything was fine. Everything wasn't fine. Of course, you guys know this. I do have a sister. My sister is 14 years older than me. But I knew I couldn't rely on her because I was 15 when I found out I had a sister with hella kids. So I knew I was an auntie for sure. The day of the service came. I don't do funerals, as I said, so I was not prepared to go. However, everyone was prepared for me to show up. Being that the financial burden was on me to pay for the funeral, yet I was still paying for 2 funerals, my mom and dad, that I hadn't yet put behind me. I was angry for more than just one reason. I was angry because I always felt as though I was a good person. So I felt as though I was being punished for something I didn't quite know what I had done. Yet I did feel the weight of being punished. I had no grandparents, no parents, my only brother and a sister that was nowhere near having a relationship with me. I sucked it up. I stayed outside the funeral. I never went in, you guys. I sucked it up and tried to support the family that was there. But something in my head kept saying, it's not right. It's not right. So me being me, I left. I went home in the middle of a funeral. Who does that? I went home just for somebody to show up to tell me you cannot do this. I said, why not? Nobody's here to judge me. Nobody was there to judge me. At that point, I realized at the age of 24, I could do whatever I wanted with no judgment. I had 2 small children to look up to me, but at that point, I really wasn't thinking about them. I was being selfish. I was only thinking about me. What makes this a worse story in the situation is the fact that I had no say-so over what was going on with my brother and his funeral. He died at his girlfriend's house. By this law in California, wherever house you die in, they are responsible for you, unless they relinquish responsibility to me, which she was not going to do. She got to have the funeral she wanted. He got to wear the colors she wanted him to. And she also got to pass out an obituary that was fake and false and not complete, which is another reason I left. I already had a temper. I already had anger issues. I was already mad at God. To be honest, I hated God. Yes, I said I hated God because he did not tell me or show me any roles as to why I was being punished and being left alone. I didn't feel I needed to be stronger, although people always say, this only make you stronger. No, it did not make me stronger. It made me angry. Yeah, I'm stronger now, but it made me angry. Moving fast forward to my life now. Like now, I have anxiety issues because my mom and dad were so young, 49 and 52. I often thought that I would die from a heart attack, being that my whole family was taken by heart attacks in their sleep. So I had sleep issues. I thought I would never wake up because I couldn't understand why I had to suffer the way I did. Sudden death is the worst death because you never get to say goodbye. 1 minute, wait, one day they're here, and next minute they're not. I find myself often thinking how much more fulfilled my life would be if I had one of the three. Oh, I can't see. Hold on. Eyelashes coming off. Well, I'm still cute though. Oh, my life would be fulfilled if I still had one of the three. Want me to be sad because he didn't want me to. They would want me to be sad. Oh, well, I can't read that part. You always used to say, "As long as I'm here, you got somebody, baby." He used to always come to my top of my stairs. I used to be like, "I don't never have nobody to talk to," and he always be like, "As long as you got me, you got somebody, baby." So I used to always hear that in my head. So, and that's the hurtful part because you're not here, and I don't have anyone to call on when I need a shoulder to cry on or $1 for a meal. I often thought maybe I would be better off if I joined all of you up there with God instead of down here suffering alone, as well as with, I don't trust anyone. And that's not bad because everybody, and I don't know what the heck this thing. I trust if he's gone. Oh, even my best friend left. She was on 49. I hope you see her in passing and let her know how I feel about her as well. Somehow, though, through the grace of God, I'm still here. But I'm here with purpose now. I'm here with purpose now. I know that my children need me and my grandchildren do too. At the age of 53, I finally stopped thinking I'm going to die from a heart attack. I'm more likely to die from heartache from a man than a heart attack. But I put that in perspective as well. The worst part is over, as they say. Although I don't believe that is true. The rate we're going, I'm seeing children die way before it's time. So that breaks my heart as well. And if you listening, anybody on here listening, if you carrying a gun and you taking children's lives, I'm letting you know it's wrong. Stop. It's a better way. This life has not been easy for me. And this road and this journey either. Whatever I put my mind to, I know I got 3 people looking down from the heavens above to help keep me on the right road. I might go through my day-to-day issues and my day-to-day struggles with my anger issues because yes, I'm still angry, but I forgave God. Because if they were still here, the type of person I am, I know I would probably be a worse person because I knew my kids had security. Being that everybody was taken, I am the security. Without me, they don't have anybody. No grandparents, no uncles, no great grandparents. I think of all the good times we had, and I wish I could make more memories. But I have to keep up with the ones that I have in my mind, although I know they're not fading. I know they're not fading. The colors are dull. The memories stay fresh, and the pain in my heart does too. I look to God every morning to guide me throughout my days and to keep my anger under control. Those who love me understand. Those who don't misunderstand me and misconstrue my anger issues with God as anger with them. But if you take the time to look into my eyes and to peel back some of my hard shell, I'm probably one of the sweetest, nicest people you know. It's hard to break through a hard shell with a Q-tip. Have you tried it? My love letter to you and God.
Oh. Whew. I felt that. See, you did it. I'm so proud of you. You said a lot in that letter that really stuck out. I think the one thing that stuck out the most was you said that the memories are not fading, but the colors have become a bit dull. That is, I've never heard that put in a better perspective, because I know sometimes I've talked to people that are going through grief and they talk about having those moments of trying to hold on to memories, and how sometimes they get a little fuzzy or they kind of fade out, and you're like, you're trying to hold on to something and you can't remember every single part of it. It just it scares you, because those memories are the one thing that connects us the most. So that's why I always try to encourage people to like, some people say, oh, don't post things on social media, like just live life. But I encourage people to post those things and take pictures of certain moments, because those things will help you keep those memories together, like if you have a record of it. So that part was like so beautiful. That was a really beautiful letter. And this is another reason I tell people on this app, and not just on this app, but in real life, you literally never know what a person is going through. You never know what journey a person has walked to get to where they are. You never know how close a person is to breaking. And so that's why I encourage people to try to be kind to each other, because you never know. You can be in someone's stream every day and never know a person's true story, what they're going through. So I commend you for sharing that.
Thank you.
And I'm sure that they're so proud of you for making it through it.
I thought it was so important for people coming to my stream and who know me to understand, because everybody think she gangster, she hard, she this, but you don't know my story. And when I tell my backstory to how I ended up with even well, it started before my brother died. It started when my dad died, because that's who raised me. So I got that hard exterior. But as I got older, I realized it wasn't God's fault, but every situation is there for a reason. So if I looked at it like, because I eventually turned to the streets. Everybody know that part, because I tell my story on my stream. But I eventually turned to the street, but I was looking for love in all the wrong places, you know. So I had to go back to how did that all begin. Once I got therapy, I know how it began. I was looking for love, you know, and everybody I ever loved was snatched from me like that. You know, never got a chance to say goodbye to nobody. Yeah. So it's important to say goodbye. If you haven't said goodbye, you can still say goodbye. You know, say goodbye. Because if you don't, you constantly trying to prove yourself to those people. Because I kind of was battling myself, trying to prove myself to my dad, trying to prove myself worthy to my mom. Like, why you didn't want to take care of me? And I'm in the same house with you. That's on another episode of Travel Based Show. But yeah, I find myself finding little holes. You know, I said it's hard to bust through a hard shell with a Q-tip. I find little holes out in the where, you know, some people could come straight in and not be nice to, but then other people, it's like they got to work their way through. It's like, you're not worthy of me just being nice to you. Prove that I need to be nice to you. Why? Yeah. But I get over that, you know.
Yeah. If you guys just coming in, this is Love Letter to Grief. We have C Diamond in the box, who just shared such a beautiful letter to her brother who passed away. And we're just kind of going through her grief journey and just trying to better understand her journey, with how it's been. So what do you think has been the most challenging part of your grief journey? I know you've dealt with a lot of grief, but particularly to your brother, what has been the toughest part of this grief journey for you?
Not being able to call one person that can understand, because nobody around me has lost a lot of people like that. At least not in my circle. I know it's people that lost a whole family, but like to lose a mother and a father in the same home. I was raised in the household with both of my parents. They died 5 months apart. Then the next year and a half, my brother died. So I haven't been able to really talk to anybody about that direct grief, or that they can share that the parents or the brother. It's never been all in once. And I never grieved one time for it. I still haven't grieved. Leave it up to professionals, you know. I guess because I didn't cry and act out. I kind of harbor the anger still, because you do need to cry it out. You need to release it some way.
Yeah.
I just haven't found the release point, you know.
Yeah. And everybody's so different. Like for some people are able to compartmentalize their grief and deal with it in pieces. Some people have to take it head on. For me, I'm very like everything has to make sense in my head, or I literally cannot sleep. And so for me, I had to take it head on. Like I started grief counseling, I think 3 weeks after my husband passed away, because I just couldn't, in my head, nothing was making sense. And so going through that with my grief counselor was so beneficial, because even though a lot of things she said were things I'd heard or common sense things, she said it in a way that really helped me like understand what I was going through. And so I always encourage, and like I say, everybody's different. I always encourage people to seek a grief counselor, because it's so different to sit down with someone who doesn't know you, and you get to unfold why this person meant so much to you. And you have friends and family who you can talk to, but at some point you feel like you're kind of burdening people. So just having that one person that it's their job to listen to you for 1 hour, talk about why this person meant so much to you. So that's why I think it's a great thing for people to try. Counselor K is like, yes, right, because she's a whole counselor right here. Y'all stop playing. Y'all follow Counselor K, and she can help me. I mean, and like I said, I think you have different types of counselors. You have psychiatrists, you have therapists, but I think a grief counselor is specifically important because that's the only thing they're trying to focus on. Right. And it's so helpful. And a lot of people don't know, if you call your local hospital, a lot of hospitals have grief programs that are absolutely free. And I'm not trying to tell y'all what to do with your process, but I'm just saying for me, I had to do that because it wasn't making sense.
5 years, 2 years in grief therapy. And then I went through a horrific divorce, which was another death in my life, a tragedy. So I considered that a death too, you know what I'm saying? So 5 years. I dedicated 5 years to trying to be a better person. So I wouldn't enter in somebody else's life and just to cause chaos, you know.
Yeah.
You causing chaos in somebody's life, believe it or not. You might not think so, but you are. Every day you releasing that grief on somebody who don't deserve it.
Facts.
So counseling is a big thing. You need counseling, you know, especially if they're really close.
Facts. So, okay, and a lot of times people say, well, I don't know what to say to someone if they're going through grief, or I don't know what to do. Is there anything particularly that has stood out to you that someone has done that has helped you in your grief journey?
No.
They
tend to stay away because that's the reason. They don't know what to say, or they don't know what to do, or they don't know how to be there for you. Especially if you act out like I did. I was really angry. My family was scared of me because I would pop off. Like, what you say? You know, if I thought you said something faulty to me, it was, I'm not talking to that person no more. I just turned my back. So now it's like everybody in my family, like, if you make her mad, she's not gonna talk to you for 3 years. She can go walk her own this way. You know what I'm saying? Because I always be like, I don't got nothing to prove to nobody. I don't have nobody to prove it to. You know, but my children. But as far as my family is concerned, I'm like, who gonna discipline me? That was my attitude. So my mother's sisters all died. I don't have no other family. It's just me and my sister and her kids. So it's like, you definitely can't discipline me. You was never there. So her relationship sucks too.
Yeah.
But what I do tell people that's going through grief is exactly that. Get some therapy. Get some help. Don't be like, oh, it's gonna be better in a couple of years. It won't be better. You just learn how to tolerate it. You know, every day it's a challenge. You know, I wake up every day like, what am I getting up for? What am I getting up for? You know, my kids are grown. My grandchildren don't live with me. It's me and my dog. So I'm like, what? So I always say I got live to get up to go to. My friends on live. They looking forward to talking to me every day. So that's my reason for getting up. And then I started a nonprofit because helping people seemed to help me. So whether it was helping people, I love to help homeless people. Because amidst all of this, once you turn your back on people and then you try to go back to them, it's really hard for you to go back to them. So I kind of tore my drawers with my whole family. So the one person I did want to help needed me was my sister. When I extended my hand and helped her, she turned her back on me. So now I'm really not trustworthy because you don't know when I'm gonna walk out your life. So all it takes is you to do one thing, and I'm not gonna give you a whole bunch of ropes to hang me with. No, I'm not giving you no more bullets to load in your gun because you missed me the first time. None of that. It's bye. So that got a lot to do with just dismissive from them. You know, they just was ripped from my life. So I feel like I could just walk out your life. I dealt with it, you can deal with it. You know.
Yeah.
That's how
I also think it's a defense mechanism. Like when you've lost, I would say like it's loss is one thing, but when it's someone that you deemed as your person, like that person, like that's a different type of loss. And so once that relationship is gone, you find yourself, I feel like keeping up a wall because you're afraid of letting somebody get too close, because you realize the end result in loving somebody that hard is if something happens, this is the price you have to pay for it. You have to grieve that person. So that makes perfect sense.
So husband, moving forward, now it's like, do I really want to be married? You know, I'm divorced now, but it's like, well, damn, somebody got to die first. Do I really want to grieve when I lose? Because now if I do get in a relationship, I'm going to love that person so hard, you know, and then that fear going to come into play. Yeah. Damn, what if he died in an accident? Am I going to make it? Damn, I almost died in behind my family, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know.
And people, you're just, everything you're saying is just so spot on, because, and I always tell people that they get so upset when I say every single relationship we have is going to end. That was one of the things my grief counselor told me. And I was like, wait a minute, what? And she was like, every relationship you have is going to end. And she was like, not because you're going to something, you know, you're going to fall out with the person, but so much energy into something that I know is going to end. But, you know, of course, that's how life is. You know, we do it because we want to live, but it is hard. So that's completely, I agree with that 1000%.
It is.
And I feel like you've done a really amazing job just being honest with yourself and talking about it. Like I always say, being transparent helps somebody. Like there's going to be someone that's in this stream today who's going to be walking this journey at some point, or they know someone that's walking the exact journey as you, and they're going to be able to hear something you said and tell that person something to give them a little bit of hope. But I also like the fact that you're honest and say it doesn't get better. And I know that scares people, but I say that to people because I don't want to give you false hope. If you lose your person, it is not going to be better. You're not going to be, it's not going to be fixed. You're not going to come to a spot where you've reached the grieving point of success. It's just going to become more bearable. Every day, you're going to get a little closer to some sense of new normalcy, but it's impossible to lose somebody that meant that much to you and then you walk out okay. It just isn't. So I love it.
I go to funerals now. Yes. What I did was, I don't know what happened, but it was like, you're going to have to get over this fear of dead people. So, I know what happened. Somebody was dying in my family. And I was called upon to take care of the person. And I was like, I don't want to watch them die. What you mean? In hospice, right? So I wind up sitting, when I said I have to help my sister, her husband was dying. I sit in that hospital and I watch him take his absolute last breath. He started off as one of my good friends when he wound up dating my sister. So I watched him, and then after first I thought I wasn't gonna be able to do it. And I stayed in and I watched him. I literally watched death come in the room, take that man and leave. Then from that point, it was like my mama's youngest sister asked me to come stay with her. She was going through dementia, and I was like, oh, nah, she about to start trying to die on me, right? And my older cousin took her. But then she got called to go to take care of her child way in another country. So I had to stay at her house. And during that process, I watched my auntie transformation into death. You know, I held her hand, I patted her head. I told her what to say to my mom. She told me she was scared. She didn't want to die. Is it something I could ask the doctors to do? And she used to ask me some of the craziest questions, like, you think if I was rich, I would still die? And I used to be like, Auntie, I don't know. And then she was like, you know, when I lose my mind all the way, I'm not going to know who you are. You still going to take care of me? And I used to be like, yeah, I'm going to still take care of you. But I just watched some of the craziest stuff. You know, people going through dementia, they absolutely do go back to childhood. And I used to be like, I'm going to do this for my mama. I used to want to leave. Like, I can't do this. And I was like, I just got to do this for my mama. I watched her go from walking to a wheelchair to ambulatory to bed sores, to just completely losing her mind, until her one day just not talking. I go there one day like, "What's good morning, auntie?" She not talking. She just holding spit in her mouth. And the hospice nurse was like, "Yeah, that's I forgot to tell her she was gonna stop talking." And then she just started staring into space. And at that point, I was like, "Okay, she already gone. It's just a shell." And when she died, I just held her. You know, I just got over that fear of death. Now it's like by the way, I went to nursing school and I got an LVN nursing degree. I don't like to do nursing because I didn't like death. And I forgot being a nurse, you got to deal with death. So the first person that died on my shift, the next shift I was gone.
Wow.
I did not prep the body. If y'all want to know how I got through nursing school, my first cousin was in there with me. The teacher, I went through the whole program, an 18-month program, and I got to my testing, and I was like, "I'm not prepping that dead body. I didn't know I had to do that." She was like, "You know what? You done came all the way this far." My parents was already dead. She knew that situation. She let my little cousin stay in the room with me and prep the body. So I was able to turn my back, not look, and my cousin prepped the body, zipped it up in the bag, and we rolled it downstairs. So that's how I graduated from nursing school. But however, I do not like nursing because it's too much loss.
Wow.
And I grieve every day for people I don't know, and I'm a sensitive person.
Same. Yeah. Wow. It's just insane. Like I met you months ago, and it's just, to me, it's just mind blowing how much things like this just connect you with a person just because you learn so much about someone. So wow. Okay, so if there's someone here that I know we kind of said, you know, like just kind of allow yourself to, if you need to go through counseling, what do you think is one thing that you could offer someone, some type of encouragement if they're going through this right now?
Now, every day, okay, so going through counseling, you know, you go through therapies and go see psychiatrists, and what's the first thing they want to give you? Psychiatric medicine. I'm gonna advise you don't take those medicines unless you feel suicidal, or your days is just to the point where you're not coming out your room, the curtains is closed, you're not answering no phones. Because if you can really, I force myself on a daily basis. I just told you guys that. I'd be like, what I'm getting out of bed for? Some days I will cry. I talk to certain people in my family on here. I call them, I'm not feeling it this morning. And I talk through it, I'll cry. But I know I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna feel better. Just know that your days is not gonna be the whole day. You need to make it 30 minutes I'm gonna dedicate it to my grief. But I'm not gonna let grief take over my whole life. You know, people are like, you always smiling, you always happy, because I made it to 53. Everybody died before 53, remember? I'm celebrating life for real, for real. My brother was 38, my mother was 49, and my dad was 52. Young people. I'm 53. So I'm enjoying life. That's another reason I won't go into darkness. So encourage yourself and find a reason to get up every day. That life, that you could not be here. God could give your life to somebody else who's losing their life. Then you're going to be on that deathbed saying, damn, I wish I was having my life. So be grateful that you have your life, because the people you grieving about, they're not here.
Facts.
No.
It's very true.
Make yourself do it. Look in that mirror and find something good about yourself. You think you got good, pretty lips? Look in the mirror and say, I love these lips. Think you got good eyes? Think you like your hair? Whatever. You love a special ring? Anything. Find something to look at every single day that gives you happiness.
Yeah.
So smoking a cigarette, smoking a blunt, taking a drink. Don't turn into an alcoholic. But you know what I mean?
I understand. Okay, so is there one thing that you have, or something tangible that you use to make you like feel connected to your brother now?
No. This is something weird. A lot of people don't understand. I do not have pictures of dead people around my house. Nobody. My parents, my brother, nobody. Because every time you get up and turn over or look at that picture, what you gonna think of? Grief. Damn, I missed them. Then you gonna think of the happy stuff. Or you may not. You might get stuck in that grief. I just feel it more beneficial to me to be able to think of happy thoughts rather than look at a picture and then cry all the time. So I have no pictures of people that's deceased in my house. So maybe that might help. Because some people get up, you look at that same picture, you cry every day because you're looking at that same picture. Or change the picture, put a different, happier picture or something.
Mm-hmm.
If you got a specific picture that you know is going to make you have to feel a certain way about that person, miss them even more or something, put a different picture.
Mm-hmm.
You don't got to put that picture of you and him on that cruise up there, because all it's going to do is make you cry and be like, I remember that cruise. Put a picture up there on his graduation day. That was his day, not your day, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, I know for sure someone's going to hear something that's going to help make sense for them. So, and I think the thing with grief is it's so personal to everyone. It's completely different. What works for one person won't work for the next, but hearing something someone says may actually help you in your own journey. So, yeah, your story has been like really, really inspirational. If you want to come back at some point and read your other letters at any point, you can. She tried to pull out you guys. She messaged me. She was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. I was like, okay, well, let me just find someone else. Since you're counseling, it's fine. She was like, okay.
I'm like, I couldn't do that to Travel Bay. That's my favorite.
And you did it. See, the thing is, it is super tough when you first start reading it, because like I tell people, when you write a letter to somebody like this, it just makes things even that much more final. So I think that's, for me, was the hardest part, was having to write it. It's just like, now you have to agree that it actually happened. So you did amazing. I'm proud of you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Anybody got any questions?
So do you want to share? Okay, I do want to ask you a question though, because like I love the grief letters are great, but we also want to kind of better understand why this person was so amazing. So do you have like a funny story that you want to share with us about the two of you guys, or just something that always makes you laugh?
Oh my God. Well, my wedding. So my brother was my witness, because my second one, my brother was my witness. He waited right until it was time for them to say, is anybody want to speak or ever on their piece? He stood up. He stood up and said something. He was like, I just want y'all to know this is my little sister, and ain't no more heartbreaks popping off around here. He was like, well, if you're not going to honor her, be with her forever, and take care of my little sister, don't even put that ring on her finger. Everybody was like, and guess what? My brother died. And he cheated on me after my brother died. I was like, why you didn't cheat on me when my brother was here?
He didn't want to catch them hands.
My brother died, but yeah. So yeah, he was a funny person anyway. He used to stop by my house every day on his way from work, because he had to pass my house. So he never passed my house. 6 days a week, he stopped at my house, brought my kids something from the store, bought him a beer, and bought him a joint, because I didn't smoke weed back then. Sit there and he would give me money. But he sit there and say, I got to get my peace of mind before I go home to this lady, talk about this woman. He'd sit there for an hour or two, then go home every single day. So I really did miss that, because since then, I don't have nobody come by my house regularly like that. Or maybe I just wasn't that inviting, maybe.
Yeah, I love that. So is there anything else that you want to share? Does anybody have a question? If you do, you can ask it. But is there anything else that you want to share about your brother?
Yeah, I do want to share that you can't prepare for grief. So don't think you could be like, well, I know my uncle dying, or I know my mom dying, or whoever dying, or somebody, they living a rough life. Because somebody in my family, everybody knew was gonna get killed, but we didn't prepare for it. He did get killed. He was living that bad of a life. That he had been shot 4 or 5 times, and it was like, just God, grace of God, he didn't die those times. So when he got shot the last time, everybody thought it was like, oh, he just got shot in the arm or the leg or something, but this time he had got killed. Yeah. So you cannot prepare, because that was another hard funeral and death in our family. So you cannot prepare for death. I don't care if you are watching somebody go through the transformation from life to death, hospice, you still can't prepare for it. It's gonna hit you harder, because you was closer to that person while they're going through that, which was the space with my auntie. During her funeral, I broke down the worst, because I thought I could handle it, because I was there. I was like, it's not gonna bother me. I was the one who took care of it till she died. No, because then I started thinking about all the stuff we went through while she was transformed. Nobody else came over there to take care of her. Like I said, I got a sister and she got kids. They didn't even come take care of their mom. So that kind of was touching to me because they was all at the funeral, but I'm looking like, y'all didn't even so much to tell me, give y'all mama a sponge bath, you know.
Wow.
That's a whole nother story. But yeah, it was
But that's
harder. I was closer.
Yeah. And you hear people all the time, they say, oh, if I had more time, it would be easier. If they were like sick and I were able to take care of them, it'd be easier. Or if it was a illness. But I've talked to people who've lost people every single way, whether it be suicide, accidental, terminal illness, whatever. And everybody has the same exact story. It still breaks you. It's not easier either way around. So, yeah.
You know, I always think that people are lucky to be able to say bye, like if the person is dying or whatever. You got time to spend with them, and you get to say everything you want to say before they die, because you know they're passing. However, when somebody just taken from you, you don't quite get that closure, especially if you're not on good terms. If you already not talking and that person passes away.
Yeah. I always hear people, I have a few friends who don't like to say goodbye. They're like, don't say goodbye, say talk to me later. And I tell them, no, I always want to say goodbye because I know firsthand that goodbye is sometimes goodbye, so it's like, why am I saying see you later? If in fact, this could be our last goodbye. So I always tell people goodbye. That's just me. But
one last thing. Don't assume that that person is going to be here tomorrow. Because we've had that situation too. Somebody didn't fly down here like they were supposed to and she died. It's like, oh, I'm going to come next week. She wasn't here next week. Yeah. So and then that person is totally destroyed. So don't assume that. I do that too. I'd be like, man, let me just say this now because what if something happened to me? Or whatever the case may be. Don't assume that that person walking out that door, you're going to see that person tomorrow. Always in the back of your mind, if you need to think about it, that person, what kind of life they live, how they living, or if you know that person, if you know you're not prepared for it, make sure you get up and give that person an extra hug. Don't be lazy. If somebody trying to say bye, get up and give them a hug. It's that easy.
Facts. And you made a good mention of something. When you're not on good terms with people, it's often harder. That's why people always say, well, forgiveness, to me, the reason I think forgiveness is not for the other person is because me personally, I never want something to happen where the forgiveness hasn't happened. Because I know it would make me feel worse. So the forgiveness is always for me. Because I never want, it's just a situation I don't want to have to go through.
Right. You're absolutely right. I needed that message this morning. Amen, Twisted. I'm glad you came in. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for reading your letter. You did a beautiful job. Very proud of you. You survived.
If you guys want to be on Love Letter to Grief, you guys, she got to come in here. Some people can't fave because you got to come in. So you guys have the opportunity to favor, or you can go on Instagram and send her a DM. Don't send it to me. However, I would want to have to pass on the message.
And you guys, make sure y'all hit C Diamonds with the Fave. Go to her stream, check out her vibe, and I agree, she's so sweet.
Just
okay.
Call, Bye, you guys.
Thank you guys, favor. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for being on the show.
By the way, I do live on the West Coast, so I had to get up at 6 o'clock this morning to be on this show. So now I'm about to stream all day since I'm up this early. Y'all say I don't stream early. Well, I'm heck early this morning. Bye, you guys. Enjoy your Sunday. Be nice to everybody.
Oh, thank you.
God bless everyone.
Thank you. She did a beautiful job. I'm very proud of her for doing that. But if anybody else is in here and wants to do the show, I saw someone said they want us to. That's why I took that screenshot if y'all were wondering. If you want to be on the show, message me on IG. Let me know that you want to do it. Yeah, I was like, let me know that you want to be on the show. And honestly, I also want you guys to know it doesn't have to just be a death, because sometimes grief could be other things. Like I had Jilly on the show. She came on and we talked about her lupus. Actually, the person I have next Sunday, she's actually going through dialysis. She's having kidney failure, and she's going through dialysis. She's been going through it for so long. And I only got like a little bit of her story, but I can't wait to have her on next Sunday. She's going to come on and read her letter. And because, like I say, people, it's not always just about death. Sometimes when life happens and these big changes happen, it is, you still grieve because you're grieving the person that you were, the life that you thought you were going to be able to live, and how like terminal illness or things like that can completely like turn your life upside down. So she's going to come on next Sunday, and we're going to do that. But if you're on here, you want to come on, read a letter to someone you've lost. If you've been on the show before and you want to come back, I know a ton of people who are very close in my streaming circle who are going through grief and have gone through things in life. And oftentimes people don't quite understand why I'm attracted to certain people and their energy is because I go where I feel like I'm needed. God sends me to people, connects me with friendships that are necessary for me and for them. So I know there's people who come here all the time who probably should come on the show and read a letter, but I'll give them their time to tell me when they're ready. I ain't gonna start calling out names. Troll. Oh, I'm sorry. I said I wasn't gonna call names. Fat. Sorry. I said I was not gonna call out names. Sorry. Don't call me out. Yeah. I ain't gonna listen. It's a lot of y'all. Toxic chill travel. I'm just saying it's a lot of y'all that can come on the show and read a letter. That's all I'm saying. Highlights. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Santee. Sorry. Bar L. Sorry. My bad. It's something in my throat. Done stud. Sorry. But anyway. Okay. So that concludes the show. And facts. Whole TSA